It really does become your personality.
It's taught me about being kind to those around me and compassionate and helping people out when they're struggling.
I think it taught me something about kind of when and where to focus your energy and how to pick and choose your battles. It kind of impacts everything and influences everything.
Rock climbing is...
At its core, it's like creative problem solving.
I would say you start with some type of climbable surface.
Rock climbing is just climbing up rocks for fun.
It's hard to pinpoint a specific definition for rock climbing because I think it's so many things.
It's a way to focus your energy into an activity that emphasizes strength.
requires a lot of upper and lower body strength.
And you have to push yourself to different degrees.
Trying to find out how you can climb up this route and how you can make it from the starting holds all the way up to the top of the wall.
For lead climbing, you are harnessed in, but the start, you aren't clipped in or anything. It's kind of a joint activity because you have what they call a belayer. They also have a harness on and are trying to keep you safe.
In lead, all of your trust goes into your belayer, and so you have to be willing to know that they're gonna catch you to feel comfortable climbing.
It kind of goes both ways, like this trust, where you're trusting the person who's belaying you, but at the same time, they kind of understand that you're trusting them, which kind of adds another layer to it of bonding. You're basically bringing the rope with you, where you're pulling the rope and you're just attaching the rope to the wall in these little clips, and that's your safety.
Come on, Brady. Yeah, Brady, come on. Now you know. Last move, you can do it. Really?
Oh, that's so close. Sorry, Wade. That was a great go, though.
That was awesome.
Here. Yeah, here. I like the last go.
Bouldering, you're climbing these short walls, and you don't have a rope attached to you. So if you fell, you would fall to the ground, and hopefully you have a mat.
Everything about climbing is fun. Even the scary stuff. Being scared is fun.
I feel different at climbing than I do in regular life. I can just relax and be who I want to be.
You chalk up and your hands are all dry and you feel that nice feeling of oh yeah, it's time.
Right before I get on the climb, I definitely go through all the movements, picture how I'm gonna do each move, where I'm gonna place my feet.
Looking at the route and seeing how I'm gonna piece together these moves.
Figuring out the beta of the climb.
Your brain kind of tells you to go as quickly as possible, but it's actually better to just make sure you know where all the holds are, make sure you see it from different angles before you actually get on the climb.
I need to think this through. What's my sequence? How do I move my body? What sections are my problematic sections?
You have to kind of memorize the route in a way.
And the music that you could previously hear bumping in the gym, you're jamming out to it, and all of a sudden it just kind of washes away.
Usually everything else just vanishes.
And you have this sense of a very quiet state of mind.
You're very self-aware at that moment. You're very in time and space in that one singular spot, and you're aware of everything that's going on, but also not aware of anything that's going on.
Constantly being aware of how hard you're pushing yourself.
You're very in the present moment.
If you feel like you're gonna fall, try and get to one more hold. I'm just get to one more hold, come on, you got this, get to one more hold. And you just keep doing that.
And then I just think to myself, I'm gonna try really hard, because if you think you're not gonna get it, then you aren't gonna get it.
You just kind of start flowing.
Climbing is almost like a dance on the wall. You're just flowing through the moves. Just breathe really deeply and just go through each move.
It's almost like you're connected to the wall. You could feel the movement from your wrists down to your hips and down to your toes. You could feel your whole entire body get connected from your core. It's a really great feeling, especially when it's a move that you didn't think you could have done, and then you do it.
It's a lot more of a kind of a mental process
I'll get into a state where my hands are moving and I don't really know what's happening, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm at the top now.
This satisfaction like bubbles in you, and you just like look around the gym, and then you start hearing the music again, and you're like, oh my God, like that was crazy.
It's a different kind of effort from other things you do. It's something else.
When everything falls into place, it's really, like, it's really cathartic. I think the payoff for it is very, very tangible.
It's an interesting way to think about things. Rock climbing, when people typically think of it, they think, oh, strong, buff people with huge muscles, but it's also very mental, and problem solving is probably one of the biggest things you can learn from it.
Sometimes the problems are as small as where to put your foot on the hold, and sometimes they're as big as like linking 3 moves while having the clip and trying to figure out that whole entire thing. It's almost like a puzzle, because your right foot could go on this hold over here and your left foot could go on this hold over here, but then that leaves you with not enough. You can't jump. That means you can't jump to the next hold, so now you have to switch around your feet. And now you have to change around where your right hand's gonna be on the next hold. Now you understand the process of how to solve a problem, which literally could help you in anything from math to fixing your car. And once I started climbing, problem solving is like one of my favorite things to do. It's definitely changed the way I look at the world.
The creative problem solving in climbing is that you're trying to kind of determine what the most efficient way is to climb the route, especially kind of unique to yourself. And when I was a lot smaller, there's like this joke like short people beta, right? But trying to figure out like, okay, the beta that everyone else is using to do this climb doesn't quite work for me. Kind of figuring out how I could either kind of break the beta or kind of maybe the intended sequence of movements. Breaking the beta, I guess it's doing the route in the way that it wasn't intended to be done. Kind of like thinking outside of the box. I think that's something that climbing has really helped me appreciate.
That part of rock climbing, I feel, has definitely sharpened my mind. I think a lot faster. I try to best understand the situation, look at it from all sides, and it's helped me become a lot less biased in my opinions on things.
And I think it taught me something about kind of when and where to focus your energy and kind of like how to pick and choose your battles.
To me, it helps me with confidence because it's a measurable means of achievement where you can look back and realize that you've gotten a lot better at this one thing and that you've maybe gone from climbing V1s to climbing V2s, and it's just that small like increase in measurement. You don't notice it right away, but after a period of time, it's like you realize that you can do a lot more than just what you thought you could.
Team sport and climbing means something different than rowing, where kind of everyone is working towards winning a game or like winning the race, right? And so it's just like this super long-lasting community that we've all built, kind of by like our own motivations outside of like school or some other like more like forced communities. So I think I got on Team Vertex in 6th grade. Middle school really sucked. Definitely, I was getting very short compared to my peers, so it was really nice to have this other community outside of school where I didn't feel like as ostracized or kind of fit in much more. So I think being on the teams and stuff really like helped me get through middle school in a way that was really, really nice. Like being on the team, having that community. Yeah, it was just like kind of critical to my mental health at the time. And I think climbing is also helping me figure out kind of what my interests are. Yeah, working through a process, trying hard, kind of having this like really specific kind of goal and kind of being super like emotionally invested and working hard and actually trying to succeed in that. You know, I think that process of kind of like, yeah, like reading your route, like formulating your approach to it, I guess pointed me to like other interests, like especially engineering, where you have a problem or something that you need to solve and kind of working through like really minute details, trying to think creatively to solve certain problems. I think it's like super, super applicable.
Rock climbing is like an individual sport, so the team aspect is really like how you like treat each other and like how you help each other get better.
You work on yourself a lot and your climbing ability, But in order to do that, you need the help of your teammates and your coaches. You have to be able to support people who are trying their best. So basically like cheering for people when they finish a route, or high-fiving people, or just hanging out. You got this, Shannon,
Yeah,
or like,
when I'm encouraging you, I'm like, Ava, let's go. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, we're very like loud and like, yeah, got this, you're so close, you got this. It takes a lot of trust between different people. There's people that blade me and I'm like, but then Shannon's like, I know she's got me.
I got you.
When you're on a climbing team, you kind of build off of what other people are doing because you get to observe them as they're climbing. You can take some of their techniques and styles and incorporate it into your climbing.
Every week I'm usually at the gym like 3 days for Team Vertex. Saturdays and Thursdays just practice, and then right after school on Mondays I get to climb for like an hour on my own, and then we have the workouts. I've only been climbing for 3.5 years, and this was my first ever bouldering regionals. Competition climbing is still pretty new to me, so I'm trying to figure it out. I guess there's always next year just to train harder for and learn as much as you can, and that's all. I can't get mad at myself for not doing good. All I can do is learn. Competition climbing's a little bit weird because you show up to a place that may be like a full 7 or 8 hour car ride away, and then you go into isolation, sometimes pretty early in the morning.
In order to make sure everyone doesn't get beta from each other, and they're doing it all based on their own understanding of the route, you have to wait in a room with everyone.
and you can sit up in there for up to like 5 hours. You're not allowed to use technology.
So you just kind of have to wait there, you know, bring board games or whatever, play cards with your team, and you kind of start to bond with the team there.
The nerves are usually pretty pumping because you don't know what you're going to be hopping on, you don't know how hard or easy they're going to be, you don't know how you're going to do, you don't know how you're going to climb. But you really just have to control it all because like at the end of the day, it is still just climbing. That's like what we do, that's all we do.
My name gets called up, and so there's like a chair that you sit in for 4 minutes or something.
Like having that competition mindset, especially when they're bringing you out of isolation, it's very like nerve-wracking because you're all sitting in the chair with like all your gear together and you're like, okay, I need to get ready for this. And you just look down and you don't make eye contact with anybody. And so when you sit in the chair with the route behind you, it puts you in this mindset because you see like this sea of people just like looking at the person behind you and you're like, oh, okay, like you're watching their eyes and you're like, oh, she's getting close to the top. And then they cheer and then like, you know, she got to the top. So you're like, okay, like it's time, like you gotta get this together.
There's people walking around you, people running around. You can hear the timer, you know what's about to happen. And then when you turn around, it's just pure relaxation. Having your team there it's pretty vital. When you have your team around you, you feel not alone, which is really, really important, especially with the nerves of being in a competition. And it's really calming because it's just like practice. You have your friends around you, you make jokes. You're pretty much joking around and having fun with your teammates all up until you go out onto the chair.
You're like cheering for your friends to like go farther than you. And it's something that I don't see in a lot of other sports. That's very, very unique.
Yeah, just having your teammates with you it makes anywhere feel like home in a way.
It's kind of therapeutic almost. After the fires in 2017, I unfortunately lost my house, but whenever I went to rock climbing, I was welcomed and it was just kind of like, it was a great place to be. And I kind of grew from that, and it's just been really great because I've kind of grown up with rock climbing and it was really supportive.
Let's say you fell, they're like, yeah, but you held on to it just like a second longer than last time.
You kind of start to understand each other. We trust each other outside of just climbing.
There's something so comforting about my team that I'm able to just like basically say all of my like deep problems or issues. When I first started climbing, there had been like a family situation where like my father had passed away. And so I was in kind of this weird like mind space because I was really young. I think I was 7. And so I just had this weird like feeling that like I couldn't really get things to like feel normal. And so after like a few years, I like finding Vertex and like climbing, it just like the routine and like the training and just like being able to like express how I feel just like on the wall. When you're able to go to training but also have like people who really care about you is something that's really therapeutic to me.
Everyone kind of shares everyone's struggles, so it's really easy to kind of like empathize and connect with people through that.
And I know I can talk to them about anything. I'm definitely a very like goofy, loud person. So I definitely know it's a place where I'm never like judged by anyone. I know I can just be my like complete self.
We like talk about school together. Sometimes we'll go out for meals together. We climb together. We bond together. It's a family and a community. That's what Team Vertex is.
I definitely think that climbing will forever have an impact on my life.
It's such a huge part of my life, and it definitely always something I can go to and just be, it's my happy place.
In those moments where I do poorly and I can kind of see that, I gotta think back and understand, you know, the next climb will be better. Restarting is always like really helpful for me in my daily life.
I grew up with rock climbing, so it's kind of shaped my personality. I've learned about compassion, teamwork, strength, bravery, and everything that just kind of like makes me who I am and who I hope to be in the future.